Welcome back for another episode of the Sports Playbook, where I'll give you a breakdown of what's been happening in the world of sport over the last 7 days. You're joined by your host, Demos. There has been a huge week in the world of sports, so I'm not going to waste any more time. The clock is ticking. Let's get right into it. In basketball, the Opals win the Women's Asian Cup for the very first time. In China, the Opals defeated the 6-time world champions, Japan, 88-79. The Opals went throughout the tournament undefeated, and at the end of the second quarter, the Opals were leading by 11 points. Japan did make a comeback, but they never hit the lead at any point during the match, and the Opals secured the victory. With that win, the Opals secure their place in the FIBA Women's World Cup, which is in Germany for next year. And the previous best result for the Opals was the silver medal back in 2017. In the FIBA Women's Under-19s World Cup, the Australian women's team did a fantastic job. They secured silver in the final, unfortunately going down to the US. Also in basketball, the WNBA players make a statement. "Pay us what you owe us" was the statement that was on all of the WNBA players' t-shirts when they went out to warm up for their All-Star game on Saturday. The Women's National Basketball League Association and the WNBA are currently holding talks over a new collective bargaining agreement, otherwise known as a CBA. You might ask why this has come about. The WNBA has just signed a new media rights agreement, which goes for 11 years starting from next year, to the tune of $2.2 billion. The other interesting thing to note here is there are 3 new teams that will be entering the league over the next couple of years, which is Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Each of those franchises had to pay the WNBA $250 million to enter that league. Let me put this into comparison for you. Angel Reese, who plays for the Chicago Sky in the WNBA, currently earns a contract of $73,000 from the Chicago Sky. And this is because Reese is classified as a rookie, as she just came into the league last year. But because Reese has big endorsement deals through the likes of Reebok, that's where she's able to earn that 6-figure salary. You might also ask what Caitlin Clark is on. Caitlin is on a very similar deal. She is on a rookie contract and it's worth about $78,000. Can you believe that? $78,000. But the Nike deal that Caitlin Clark has, though, is worth $28 million over 8 years. So the WNBA are significantly underpaying their athletes. The last thing I'll say about this, just to put it in perspective for you, the highest earning WNBA player is earning $252,000. The highest earning NBA player before endorsements last year was $59 million. In the AFL, Fremantle claim a historic victory over Collingwood. The Dockers were down by as much as 22 points early in the final quarter. But the Dockers, they were able to turn things around, claiming the final 4 goals of the game to win the game by 1 point. Flag mantle. Is it possible that Fremantle can win the premiership and get themselves a flag? I think it's a chance. In the other games, the Giants got a big win over the Essendon Bombers by 48 points. And the Swans, well, they were able to keep their finals hopes alive, defeating North Melbourne by 31 points. You might remember from last week, but the Gold Coast Suns defeated Collingwood. Well, they had a big fall from grace and they lost to the Adelaide Crows by 61 points. As late as midway through the third quarter, the Gold Coast Suns had only scored 4 points in the match. 4 points. And in the NRL, Lachie Galvin guides the Bulldogs to a victory over the Dragons. It was quite the moment for Lachie Galvin. He was named as the starting halfback for the Bulldogs for the first time. Jetro Rena scored the final try thanks to a Lachie Galvin pass. Rena scored in the 77th minute after Lachie Galvin put a magical floating pass through so the winger could score right in the corner. For the Dragons, unfortunately, this is another close loss this season. It's been a tale for most of their season where they have had a lot of close defeats. They just can't seem to put that finish on a game. For Tigers fans, they had something to celebrate about. They defeated the Gold Coast Titans 21-20 in the 8th wonder of the world. For those that don't know, that's Leichhardt Oval. An Adam Doueihi field goal in the final minute secured the victory for the West Tigers. The Warriors stole a victory from the jaws of defeat. With 6 seconds to go, the Warriors had their field goal charged down. 40 metres out, they pick up the ball, run into Knights territory, and they score a try bang on full time. They won the match 20-15. In netball, the Vixens defeat the Thunderbirds and the Fever demolish the New South Wales Swifts. In the minor semi-final, the Vixens defeat the Thunderbirds by 2 points, which means the Thunderbirds' chance of a three-peat is done. It was quite a close affair throughout the whole match. Kira Austin was on fire during this minor semi-final. From 5 attempts, Kira Austin got 5 Suncorp super shots. Sophie Garbin also had a very solid shooting game. She scored 39 goals from 42 attempts. And as mentioned at the top of this headline, the Thunderbirds, who were going for a three-peat, their chances are done. They are out of the final series and they went down in front of their home fans. In the major semi-final though, the West Coast Fever, well, there's no other way to put this, they put away the New South Wales Swifts by 32 points. It was the largest winning margin in a finals game. Going into halftime, that margin was 26 goals. For the West Coast Fever, they go straight through to the grand final, which is on Saturday the 2nd of August, held at Rod Laver Arena in Melbourne. They won't have their home ground advantage in Perth. For the New South Wales Swifts, well, there's no other way to say this, they looked stunned and out of sorts throughout this match. And they simply had no answers for the West Coast Fever's attack and defence. The Swifts greatly missed their co-captain Paige Hadley, who was out through injury, and that impact off the bench from Tegan O'Shaughnessy. For the Swifts, they'll need to regroup and find that early form that they had at the start of the season, as they'll go up against the Melbourne Vixens in the prelim final on Sunday. In Rugby Union, the British and Irish Lions win the first test against the Wallabies in Brisbane. For the first time in 12 years, the British and Irish Lions played in Brisbane for the first test. The Lions, they simply outmuscled the Wallabies 27-19. The Lions, they led by as much as 24-5 early into the second half. For the Wallabies though, they showed some fight. They scored the final 2 tries late in the second half to reduce that margin to 8 points. Something that's often been criticised about the Wallabies in recent years is not showing enough resilience during these games. Well, I think the Wallabies did display this and they have something to give their fans some hope going into the second and third test. The next match will be held in Melbourne at the MCG this Saturday, July 26. In cricket, Australia defeat the West Indies in the first T20 match. For the West Indies, they opened up the batting and scored 189 runs. But Aussie bowler Ben Dwarshuis got 3 wickets in 4 balls in the penultimate over to knock over the West Indies batting attack. For the Aussies, they got off to a shaky start with no partnerships being formed and lots of early wickets falling. But led by Cam Green and debutant Mitch Owen, the two put on an 80-run partnership to secure a 3-wicket victory for the Australians. Cameron Green finished with 51 off 26 balls and Mitch Owen finished with 50 off 27 balls. They finished the game with 7 balls to spare. In football, Olivia Smith becomes the first £1 million player in women's football history. Smith, who is 20 years old from Canada, has just transferred from Liverpool to Arsenal. Or should we call it Arsenal? I think so. Smith is the first player to smash the women's transfer fee, which is £1 million. In Australian dollars, that's the equivalent of $2 million per season. Olivia Smith has signed a 4-year deal with Arsenal. It's an exciting time for women's football. We're seeing the talent being rewarded with much larger contracts. However, it's still a remarkable amount behind the men's football contracts. And in swimming, Moesha Johnson scores 2 gold medals at the World Aquatic Championships. The World Aquatic Championships were held in Singapore, and the conditions were average at best, with the open water being described as a human soup. That's all I'm going to say about that. Johnson took out the 10-kilometre open water race. That was Johnson's first ever open water world championship title. But 36 hours later, Johnson backed up her 10-kilometre performance and won gold in the 5-kilometre open water race. It was a thrilling sprint finish, but Johnson hung on to get the gold medal. In the men's 10-kilometre open water event, Kyle Lee scored a bronze medal, also with a thrilling sprint finish, which Lee was able to hang on. Well, today, it's a little bit different. There's not too much in the week of motorsport. We're all just waiting for Max Verstappen to leave Red Bull and sign somewhere else. So, let's get into your fast fact for a pub chat. It's time to pull up a chair and pour yourself a drink. It's this week's fast fact for a pub chat. And this week's fast fact is dedicated to cricket, and in particular, it's Scott Boland. Did you know that Scott Boland has the best test bowling average in the last 100 years, with an average of 16.53? As Mark Howard so greatly put it, built the man a statue.
Again, Boland's got 6 at the G! Build the man a statue!
That is this week's fast fact for a pub chat. And now it's time for the Playbook Planner. Here are some sports to look forward to this week. In the NRL, the Roosters take on the Storm on Thursday the 24th of July from 7:50pm. You can catch this on Channel 9, KO or Foxtel. In the AFL, it's the Battle of Sydney. It's the Giants taking on the Swans. Friday the 25th of July at 7:50pm. You can catch this on Channel 7, Foxtel or KO. In the AFL, it's the Battle of Queensland. It's the Gold Coast Suns taking on the Brisbane Lions. Saturday, the 26th of July from 1:20pm. You can catch this only on Foxtel and KO. In rugby, it's the Wallabies, that's the 15-a-side game, taking on Wales. It's on Saturday, the 26th of July at 2pm, and you can catch it only on Stan Sport. In the NRLW, it's the Roosters taking on the Bulldogs on Saturday, the 26th of July at 3:15pm. You can catch it only on Channel 9, KO or Foxtel. In the Rugby Union, it's the second test match. It's the Wallabies taking on the British and Irish Lions. Also on Saturday, the 26th of July, I think you should just mark this day down, full stop. It's at 7:45pm. You can catch it on 9 Now. In the Super Netball, it's the prelim final. It's the New South Wales Swifts taking on the Melbourne Vixens. It's on Sunday, the 27th of July at 2pm. You can catch this on KO, Foxtel or Binge. And finally, in the NRL, the Bulldogs will take on the Sea Eagles on Sunday, the 27th of July at 4:05pm. You can catch this game on Channel 9, Foxtel or KO. And with that, we have come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please send this episode to someone who hasn't listened to the Sports Playbook before. We'll be back with another weekly episode next week. And with that, we will catch you on the next play.